Ski for Light Job Fair with Julie Coppens, SFL President. This was recorded on Zoom Wednesday, May 4th, 2022. The opening photo shows skier guide pairs on our guide training day back in 2020 in Casper. They're standing on a snowy hill under a blue sky, working on some uphill-downhill techniques. During our session tonight, I have some things I want to share. We have some Ski for Light volunteers, longtime leaders who I'm sure that I will tap them to share some of their own experiences, things they're working on currently that are exciting, what's been rewarding about working, quote unquote, working for Ski for Light. I have a list of all the different committees, the coordinators, all the different tasks that it takes to make a Ski for Light event happen, to keep our organization running year round. There's a lot, there's a long list. And fortunately, most of those tasks have really capable, awesome people who've been doing those things for a while. They have coordinators assigned, but we really are looking to beef things up. So I've highlighted a few areas where I know from talking with some of the board and coordinators that we have particular needs right now, but I'm gonna open it up. This is a really informal thing, and I'll encourage those of you who have particular areas that you're in charge of, that you need help, be ready to jump in and do some shilling for some help, because I think everyone who's here is interested in stepping up and bringing their talents to the fore. So speaking of talents, I want to start with what's behind me hanging. If you tuned into the SFL auction, you saw me win this amazing hand quilted Ski for Light quilt made out of t-shirts from past events that Jeff Lucasina's cousin made for us and donated to the auction. And I have it hanging behind me, first of all, because it's awesome and beautiful, but I feel like it's such a great illustration of all talents are needed and welcome here at Ski for Light. You might think, you have no marketable skills. I sometimes think that about myself, but if you're good at something, even if it's making a quilt, that is a talent that we can put to work here at Ski for Light. And it takes all that, all those unique gifts to make the fabric of this event strong and lasting. And so I just wanted to start with that. And it makes me so happy just to look at it. So the next thing that I wanted to share was this being a job fair, first of its kind, I think, here at Ski for Light, and probably the last of its kind, but we're going to try it. This being a job fair, I felt like there should probably be a PowerPoint presentation. So I have one to share. I want to shout out to Lene and a couple others who contributed to it. Yeah, this is a PowerPoint with the top 10 reasons why working for Ski for Light is better than a real job. Number 10. See, I'm going to move my little screen. You don't have to punch the clock. Sigurd has you covered. So this shows a photo of Sigurd Dahlen, one of our Norwegian race moderators. He is always on the cutting edge of race timing technology. He's holding a kitchen wall clock that he probably literally tore off the wall of Marie Houston's kitchen in Colorado or something. And that is how we time everybody's performance in the race. It is cutting edge, high tech, and it works for us. So yeah, you don't have to punch the clock at Ski for Light. We got that. Next, number 9, our casual dress code. I think a lot of us employees really appreciate that. At Ski for Light, you can show up in anything, and it works. This is a picture from Granby a few years ago. We actually had someone dressed up as a Yeti, terrorizing the MIP group here. We have frightened faces of a bunch of crazy guides. I see David Fisichella, I see Marie, I see John, Elliot, I see Diane Brunswick, and Andrea Goddard is holding her zebra striped pillow, looking very fashionable while being terrorized by a Yeti. So casual dress code prevails at Ski for Light, and thank goodness, it keeps everything really relaxed. Number 8, our comprehensive employee wellness plan. This includes a lot of fresh air, 3 nutritionally balanced meals a day, and a stretch class every morning with people like Nino Pacini leading right now. And this slide shows one of our early morning yoga sessions, a group of probably 20 folks spread out on the carpet of the hotel ballroom with arms up, legs splayed. They are stretching it out, warming it up for a great day of skiing. So yeah, you got to love that employee wellness plan. It keeps us all raring to go. Number 7 reason why working at Ski for Light is better than a real job is that all your colleagues are ski bums, just like you. So this is a photo from our Tahoe Donner event. You may recognize we have Roger Young, Anthony Nelson, Janice Newman, and Debbie Impiazzi. They're wearing their race bibs and their medals, smiling, looking very chic in front of the Tahoe Donner Ski Lodge, arms around each other. We're all friends here, and we're all ski bums. Number 6, hashtag pay equity. Everyone at SFL makes the same salary, accepting bonus treats for guide dogs. So this is one of my favorite SFL board photos of all time. I think it's from 2014. Tim, you can correct me if this year one of the years we were in Anchorage, and we're all at the top of the Captain Cook Hotel at sunset, beautiful light, and it's most of the Ski for Light board at that time. So a lot of longtime leaders there, including our own Judy Dixon in the center with her guide dog and all the others. And it's just a really lovely portrait showing the Anchorage landscape in the background there. But whatever your position at Ski for Light, wherever you are on the pecking order, your pay is exactly the same as mine. So we're pretty progressive that way. Number 5 top reason why working at Ski for Light is better than a real job is nobody's going to steal your lunch from the office fridge. Thank goodness, don't have to worry about that because we have the Norwegian guys here. This is one of our al fresco lunches. You know those really nice days in Granby when the sun's out and we go through the lunch line and we take our lunches outside and sit in the sun. It's just a delightful scene with the ski trails in the background there. These guys look pretty intimidating in their sunglasses, and they are Norwegian, but they're not going to steal. They're not going to steal your lunch because we all got more than enough to eat at Ski for Light. Number 4, injured on the job, you're in good hands with Dr. Carl and his first aid team. And this is just a lovely bluebird sky portrait of Dr. Carl Hine, our amazing first aid coordinator, skiing with Brahim from one year. I think this might have been a Granby year pretty recently. But we have some amazing medical professionals who come to Ski for Light, bring their expertise. Thankfully, it's not always needed, but accidents do happen, and we are always in good hands with Dr. Carl. Number 3, when it comes to enriching your retirement, a good 10K is better than a 401k. So this picture shows the starting line of one of our Granby events. Team 24 in their race bibs is starting out on the 10K trail. That's guide Leslie Macklin with skier Peter Slayton. And behind you, you see the whole lineup of skiers. There she is. And you see the lodge with the international flags and the mountains in the background. That was just one of those idyllic sunny race days from a few years ago. And whatever you have saved for your retirement, your portfolio, however it's looking with stock market up and down, you don't need to worry because if you're doing a 10K every year, you're in good shape. All right. Number 2, I went ahead to the next slide. Okay, number 2, your annual performance review is a cheering crowd, medals, and hugs at the finish line. This is a picture of Charlie Worth, whom we were just talking about. This is a few years back. He was probably a youthful 97 or 98 in this photo with his guide Karen Anderson at the finish line of the 5K rally in their race bibs and medals and getting a big hug there. So according to all key performance indicators, Charlie is a very valuable member of the SFL workforce. He should be seeing a bump in his compensation real soon. All right, number 1, the top number 1 reason why working at Ski for Light is better than a real job is if I can do this, I can do anything. Our motto with Ski for Light on your resume, you're automatically qualified to excel in any other workplace. And I think some people with us can probably attest to that. One thing that comes up again and again when I talk to people who volunteer at Ski for Light, they talk about the crossover effect. So because I was working at Ski for Light, I had to learn how to do spreadsheets. I had to learn how to do PowerPoint. And that skill served me well in the rest of my life. And it's true of some of the soft skills as well and the things that just motivate us to be better people. Those are all things that we pick up on the job here at Ski for Light. So there you go. Pretty darn good working conditions here and how fortunate we are in our colleagues. I think that's actually the number 1 reason. Best colleagues ever. So I'm going to turn it over to you. And what I'd like to do is a little bit of like a popcorn. So if anyone would like to speak first, just say who you are. If you want to share something that you have done at Ski for Light, if you've been on the board, if you've been a coordinator of an event, if you've worked on any of the committees, something that you're proud of that you want to just mention and share. And yeah, what was cool about it. And later on, we'll have a chance to share if you have areas that you're working on right now, projects where you're going to need some more backup, there will be a chance to ask for that as well. So, but hold on that. For now, it's just, I just want to hear kind of what you've done and how you brought your talents. Even if you performed in the talent show, like Greg with his flute, like that's a huge contribution. So you can speak proudly to that as well. Not everybody has to speak. We might have to wrap it up quickly, but just if you want to, anyone who wants to take a few moments, and then after you speak, you can call on someone else, or I will do that. You can also raise a hand. Zoom experts, what is the easiest way to raise a hand on the Zoom deal?
Alt-Y.
Alt-Y, so you can do that too.
That's on a PC, Windows PC.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. So who wants to share first a story of happy employment at Ski for Light and what was cool about it? Start us off, Lene.
Okay. Well, first of all, good job with the PowerPoint. That was awesome. Very clever. And what is this called? Popcorn? What did you say?
Yeah, popcorn. So
doing
just
it?
like when you say something, then if you're done talking, you can call on someone else who has a hand up or whatever. So that's
Oh, okay, got it.
If you're eating popcorn, that's okay too.
I'm not currently eating popcorn.
Good.
I'll just share that I have served a few times as, or maybe just a couple times as a guide instructor, and it's scary every time because you think I'm not qualified for this, but I think it helps with your guiding skills, and of course it makes me step out every time out of my comfort zone. So I do believe it's made me a better guide, even though it's scary. So that's all I want to say. I'll pass the popcorn.
Super. That's good. So I'll mention guide training is an area where we are going to have more need in the coming event cycle, because since we've been off for a couple of years, we're offering kind of a freebie remedial, any guides. Normally it's just first and second year guides who come to the training. But since so many of us are going to need a refresher, we're going to invite people to come early come a day early. We'll pay for people's rooms and offer the training to a larger group of people than we normally would. So that means we're going to need more trainers. So if that's an area in guide training, I think we all kind of know how it works, but we work in pairs. So a guide and a either visually or mobility impaired skier work together to train a small group of guides. That's how we do it. So if that's something that you've wanted to try, or maybe we're scared to try but would like to, we can talk to you about that. Okay, I see a hand up iPhone. I'm not sure who it is, but go ahead and speak.
It's
Thanks,
Nancy, maybe?
Hey, Nancy.
Hi. Sorry, I thought I had named myself on here, but I guess not.
Okay.
Anyway, this is Nancy Stevens, and I love helping with guide training. It's so fun to meet all the new folks and see them develop over the week and see the connections they make with their skiers from doing the from doing the awareness training at the beginning to seeing people at the end of the race and seeing the teams and friendships that develop are really awesome. So I love doing
Great.
guide training, and also I love helping with song leading. So that is one of my favorite things. And one of the things I would love to help with this year might be like evening programming.
Oh,
Being in Colorado, it's a fun place to be, and um, um, so that's me.
yeah, that's good. I'm going to write that down because Marie Houston is the coordinator of that at this event, but she did express to me that she would love to have a partner work with her and kind of learn the job. So because the year after, she is going to be the coordinator of the Rhinelander event, and we'll need some other folks to step up in that evening programming realm. So that could be a love connection right there. So let me put that down. That's awesome.
All right.
Thanks, Nancy. Okay, do you want to
Thanks.
call on someone or let someone volunteer to speak?
I'll just let someone because I don't remember who's on the call. So
Okay. Anyone else on fire to share their experiences?
This is Karen Wood. For several years now, I've been coordinating the special interest sessions in the afternoons, and I love doing that job. It's a really good way to get to know people, and I love just putting all the pieces together, putting the whole puzzle together. And I'd like to take the opportunity to encourage people. We always need special interest sessions, and if you have anything that you think would be of interest, please fill out that special interest session form. Um, this past year, we had a really great group of sessions and we didn't get to do them. So I'm hoping some of those people will reapply to do a
Right.
session.
Right. Thanks for talking about that, Karen. You do such a good job. And that's an area we're looking to expand this year because one of the new committees that we're establishing is a virtual programming committee. So some of that special interest type content, maybe, there are a limited number of slots of what we can offer during the event proper. So maybe some things could be offered virtually or both live in person and virtually. So that could be another area where people can share their talents. Um, and also doing like fitness instruction type videos. We've had a bunch of people who have skills in those areas put together little videos like how to warm up before exercising. That's another great way to share a skill. So, yeah, thanks for all the work that you do with that, Karen, and also just being an awesome board member. Okay, who else is ready to share?
This is Mike
This
Envelope.
is Deb. Oh,
Okay,
Go ahead.
let's let Mike first and then Deb.
Okay. Yeah. Hello from Rhinelander, Wisconsin. Spring finally arrived. We got to
Yay.
60 degrees today, and looks like the ice might make it off the lakes in time for the fishing opener this weekend. But yeah,
Fingers crossed.
yeah. After being involved in ski flight a number of years as a guide and being really impressed with how the organization always seems to come together and solve the problems, I threw my hat in the ring and got into the board of directors, which led to being a trail coordinator in Casper, and then after that, now last year being the event chair for uh, the 2022 event, which of course we know how that ended. But so being somebody that likes to see a job through, I and volunteered and also going to be event coordinator for 2023 in Colorado. It's really has helped me learn the inner workings of the organization. It has really helped me come out with a renewed sense of confidence in the long-term viability of this organization, how everybody really just steps forward. There are those that just really care about Ski for Light and not going to let things fall through the cracks, and they step forward and help you. That has really helped me out a lot as far as being event coordinator, is some of the people that have been here before and done it before, and really provided a lot of help. Just wanted to bring forward several areas of need coming up. Nancy Stevens stepping forward, talking about the evenings and how Marie Houston is taking care of that, and she's talking about how she wants to train somebody into that. We also have something like that with Krista Erickson. She'd like to mentor somebody into the other attendee coordinator position. So if somebody is interested in learning the workings on the registration, how that works out, and coordinating that, this has to do with uh, lining up the registration, working registrations of mainly of the worker bees is what that job entails. So anybody out there is interested in learning that, you'd have a great coach in Krista. Another area is the sales room. Eventually, we need somebody to work into that is good with inventory control, with spreadsheets as far as keeping track of the sales and how the daily sales and that type of thing. If you have that type of skills, step forward and won't throw you into the number one position right away, but it there is a great group of people that volunteer every year that would be a great help for you and step forward. And we've had some people in the past that have done a great job there. And maybe is another area that could use somebody that wants to learn it and work their way up into it. And but other than that, looking forward to seeing everybody in 2023 out in Colorado. Would be fantastic.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mike. And thank you for all the work you're doing on that. A little bit later, I will be going through the list of all the different event jobs. Like you say, a lot of them are covered for this year, but we're definitely going to be looking for more in the coming year. And then some jobs like heading into, even we're looking ahead to 25 because that's going to be our 50th anniversary. So we're expecting a lot of other attendees and a lot of folks who are there to socialize and to be a part of the celebration. So that's a job that's going to become really important in that cycle, especially. So when we get to that part of the meeting, Mike, if there are other things that jump out at you in that list that you want to highlight, do for sure speak up. But that's a good overview. Let's see. I think. Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Mike.
I did forget one other one that
Uh-huh.
Lars Johansen. He's been
Hmm,
the coordinator for instructor guide applications. He's
right.
been doing that for many years, and he's looking forward to training somebody else to help him out in that position. Also, that's another one I forgot to write down.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. I think Deb Weiss wanted to share, and then we'll go to Leslie after Deb.
Yes. Gosh, I've been involved with Ski for Light since 1983.
Wow.
So I have done a number of jobs for the event, and I've been on the board. But I'm interested. I always really enjoy doing disability awareness pieces, especially for staff hotel orientation. So if there is a need for that in the coming years, and also I'm open to doing other things.
Right. That's so good. I'm going to write that down. Um, for sure, when we go to Rhinelander, because we're going to have two hotels, and both never met us before, and there's going to be a fair amount of orientation that will want to happen, and we really want to do some good outreach to that new community for us. So we will absolutely put you to work, and then there could be a way for you to contribute in this coming year for sure too. So and awareness, that's great. Cool. Thank you so much. Okay, Leslie had a hand up.
Oh, hi everyone.
Hey, friend.
I'm calling from northern Michigan. We had snow last week. I don't know if we beat you, Mike, or not.
That's crazy.
So hopefully in February I'll be able to ski again after my I had a double ankle break and surgery, but I have titanium now, so I have that advantage, I guess, right?
You're the
Kind of
bionic
show off.
woman.
So I've done a lot of different things at Ski for Light, but I wanted to share one of my first jobs that I did was take over the Facebook page from Kristen Johnson. So I always credit her for getting it started and being great at loading up pictures. And then we've grown and grown the audience and the content over the years. And the last couple years, Julie and I tag team it. Usually we don't talk, we just communicate, but it works. But we, and I don't want to steal your thunder if it's on your job list later, Julie, but we would love to have some more people join the team. You don't have to be the leader of the team. We would love that. And when you want to expand to other platforms, I've got a LinkedIn thing that could be a potential sponsorship opportunity that needs to be updated. Want to do an Insta account. And then I know Judy at one point set up a Twitter account. So this actually is a really good example because when I started doing the admin on the Facebook page, I was like a latecomer to Facebook. It actually really helped me. And I don't do that for my job. I am in marketing, but I manage people that do digital and social. So it actually helped me pick up some skills. So I actually admin some other accounts on a volunteer basis as well. So for example, if somebody, is comfortable on Facebook and likes to communicate and share, because the whole point of sharing information and pictures is to continue to build community even when we're not there, right? And then the other thing that's been really loud and clear for the years that I've done this, for people who can't attend maybe a specific event because they're sick or they're not able to make it or whatever, we get such positive feedback like at the event when we're posting pictures, whether it's an award or just people skiing and people happy. And then again, social platforms are really used by a lot of people. We have, obviously a great website, but they're really looking for up-to-minute information. So we've got, we always have a link to donate. We announce immediately when signups are open and all that stuff. So, if you like to communicate and talk, it's a great job. And again, you don't have to be an expert at it. I mean, for example, it would be a great help if somebody would say, hey, once a month, I'll post like a fitness tip and remind people that we've got fitness videos, right? Or, I always think of, you guys know Kevin, right? He on his personal page, like I think almost every day posts like a positive thought or quote. Like if somebody wanted to do that just once a month, as part of our content flow, we would blatantly we were looking for some help. And it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and as Leslie said, even if you're not, because we have other kinds of sort of publications needs. Now that I'm president and I'm doing a lot of other things, and I need to have kind of a big picture view. I can't be like doing the nitty gritty of of editing the annual report, which is now 3 months late because I just can't do it. So we would love to have more support of graphic design or publications. But even if that's not you, but you are a good storyteller, or if you have social accounts that you follow and are really engaged with, that is a community that we should know and we should be friends with, like you can just give us those leads and you can help us build out the content and make it compelling. If it comes, people can tell when social media is kind of done as an afterthought or it's not authentic, it turns people off. So the more that it's our community interacting with each other, we need more of that. So for sure, thanks for highlighting that, Leslie. That's great. Another thing that, go ahead.
Message me on Facebook. Or if you could, or even if you privately want to say, hey, I think there's somebody you should ask. Might be, or they're too shy to say something. Give me the name.
Yeah, we need some young folks too. Yeah, like people who are more versed in this than us, more senior people. I'm one of those now. Another thing I want to point out why I have Leslie in the spotlight is that she is just such a great example of someone she's just resourceful. So another area that is really helpful is if you know of like a local business that's doing something really unique, like she found the woman-owned company that makes those headbands that we got that year, and like the hats or whatever, and connected us, ordered the hats, like took the initiative. So our great strength is that we're all out in the country and all these different places. You all are all like active in your communities. You have those relationships. So if that's a relationship that can serve Ski for Light, like be a friend raiser, be a resource gatherer, be a connector. Like we absolutely want that. And I just wanted to shout out Leslie because she's like master of that.
Oh, okay. And speaking of, we got a closeout deal from that same woman.
What? Closeout deal?
We have hats that we were going to have in the sales room. So we will have those next year.
Rock and roll. Love a bargain.
Just got a closeout deal on some ski hat fabric.
Ooh, okay. Sounds good. All right. Who'd like to go next? I have a few more minutes for this sharing my experiences as a happy Ski for Light employee. Okay, we have not heard from certainly our most senior leader, Judy Dixon. Can you talk a little bit about your Ski for Light journey and how you went from just being a young pup on skis to, president and all the stops along the way? I would love to. I don't think a lot of people on this call know that.
Actually, I was president pretty early on. My first Ski for Light was 1977, and I have not missed an event since then.
That's amazing.
And I was 24 years old. And so I've now been going to, well, I started to say I've been going to Ski for Light for more than half my life, but that actually passed quite a while ago. So I'm probably getting to be more than, well, anyway, a lot.
A big chunk.
Long time. And I became president in 1989. Yeah, right. And
Judy has perfect attendance.
Perfect. Lene said put in the chat. And so yeah, I became president. I've been event chair of 11 events. I think that's right.
Wow.
And I've held every office. I've been vice president, secretary. I was treasurer for 12 years, from 96 to 2008.
Wow.
And lots of other things along the way. And so the point I would like to make, and I think it's a point you just made, Julie, but I'll make it in a slightly different way,
Yeah.
is, there's all these event jobs and there's all these board committees that kind of are the nuts and bolts and the grunt work of the organization. And we certainly do need people in those jobs. But there's also things that people can do independently. I'm reminded of Lieve Markle, who used to have um, fundraising dinners in her home. And she just invited all her friends and made a nice dinner and then passed the hat for Ski for Light. And she'd regularly send us checks for $800, $1,000 that she raised at her fundraising dinners. And it's things like that that people can do. Uh, a former Ski for Light participant who's now deceased, Lorinda Steele Lacey, used to knit hats in the football team colors of our local Washington. They're now the Commanders, and but they're the burgundy and gold, and she used to knit burgundy and gold hats and sell them, and give Ski for Light the money she made for that. And so just whatever your talent is, I mean, if you think, if you're a knitter and you think, well, that's not going to, what can that do for Ski for Light? It can do something for Ski for Light. So there's, whatever your talent may be. I'm really good at making lists. Maybe I can figure out a way to make a list for Ski for Light. But
Oh, you made a few.
yeah, I probably made
I'm
a
living
few.
by those lists,
I
Judy.
I read in my early years. I read a research report one time that Harvard University did a longitudinal study over like 40 years and looked at a bunch of people and their lives, and why were some people more successful than others. We could argue about their particular measure of success, but that's okay. But the only thing they could find difference between the successful people and the not successful people was the successful people made lists. And so if by that measure, I must be very successful. I make one
Right.
heck of a lot of lists. Um, so anyway, whatever your talent might be, you can find a way to put that to work for Ski for Light.
That's great. Thank you, Judy. We had a chat, was it yesterday where we had a phone chat, and you brought up the point, having been a Ski for Light leader and been an event coordinator so many times, have had the experience a bunch of times of people saying, oh, I want to help. I really, I want to do this, or everyone wants to help. So are there sort of some, I don't know, some do's and don'ts, or sort of things that make it hard for a coordinator or a leader to really make use of that help,
I
or
think we have to match the skills with the
yeah.
job, and it's really important that the person who is, and these days in many of our jobs, people need computer skills, and they need to they need to, and I'm the one. When you said, I learned Excel because of Ski for Light. I certainly didn't learn Excel in my job. I ended up using it in my job, and it was cool because I already knew Excel when a lot of people didn't, and that was very
Yeah.
helpful. But I learned Excel at Ski for Light. And but it's, if you need computer skills that you don't have but you really want to learn them. When Larry Showalter took over being VIP coordinator back in the early 90s, he really didn't know how to use a computer. He hadn't been blind all that long. And I taught him how to use DBase so he could keep track of the VIPs
Wow.
and so forth. I created a monster.
You did. I just cannot imagine a non-computer genius Larry. That's amazing.
Larry did not know how to use a computer.
Wow.
And so, I mean, if you have a desire to learn computer skills, but you don't have them, we can always help with that too. So,
Right.
it can be a place to learn the skills that you don't have if you want them.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And I think, the only frustration I run into is sometimes, we're all guilty of this sometimes is, our eyes are bigger than our stomachs in terms of what we can take on. So you kind of learn as a coordinator to sort of, sometimes build it, I call it putting a net under somebody, who's new, or just making sure that set them up to succeed. But if, life happens, we all have other things. We are all volunteers, and none of us is expecting everyone to like Ski for Light 24/7. This is, one of the reasons I wanted to have this session is we've had a number of longtime leaders who right now happen to be going through, health issues in their families, or they're doing elder care, or they're doing, they're at a stage of their life when they need to take a sabbatical from Ski for Light and focus on other things. And so the more people that we have involved in some of these jobs, even if it is in a supportive way, the more that we can back those people up and be ready have other people ready to step up when the time comes. So, no one is expecting you to like be the hero. If we're all sort of heroes some of the time, everything gets done and it's amazing. Um, Really, the only mistake you can make is to, promise to do something in a certain way at a certain time, and then, not communicate when you're needing help and when that's looking less realistic. So, I would say, in my experience, like people, much more so than in my real job, people at Ski for Light are really good at communicating expectations and asking for help when they need it and expressing, this is more than I can take on right now. And we have disagreements, we have tension points. We have some people that are more deadline oriented than others, and sometimes it's a negotiation. But overall, there's just an attitude, I think, of appreciation and of mutual support that we're really fostering and really just welcoming everyone. So
Julie, can you read what Leslie just wrote in the chat, please?
I
Because
will.
thanks.
Leslie says, chiming in is also important to be, it's also important to be welcoming to new volunteers. Sometimes it's hard for new folks with so many veterans. That's a good point. Leslie, do you want to say anything more about that?
I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, I've just heard like over in the past, whatever, some people that were new and they jumped in and they, and again, you volunteer, sometimes you have to be realistic, right? That doesn't mean you're invited to change the world, right? But also, if you're a new volunteer, it's kind of frustrating when you're not given any, like, no, do it this way, and we've always done it this way, and so forth and so on. So just, to be welcoming and appreciative. I mean, I totally 100% agree with you, Judy. You got to match the skills, but sometimes we don't know that, right? So I would just say be welcoming.
Yeah, no, I like that's such a good reminder, Leslie. Thank
Because,
you.
it's intimidating somebody, right? It's like going to a new job or a new church or whatever, and
Right.
everybody's like knows each other. And so that's all, which I
Yeah.
think we're a pretty welcoming group, but I've just heard like, anecdotal feedback over the years. So
Yeah.
that's all.
Karen, you said a really nice thing when we had our board orientation recently. You talked about what one kind of a rule that you set for yourself when you're at the event in terms of making sure that new folks have that direct connection. Did you want to say? Do you mind sharing that here?
Yeah, I just after I got on the board 4.5 years ago, I had never really, before I got on the board, I had never really had any opportunity to talk to board members. I felt like, it would be nice to kind of get to know some of the board members. So I started purposefully sitting at tables where I didn't know anybody and just telling everybody there that I was a board member. And if they had any comments or questions, that I'd be happy to talk to them. And I've never had anybody, act like that bothered them. People are always really happy that they actually get to talk to a board member and ask questions or make comments. So I think that's a really great thing for board members and other leaders to do, so that people can feel like they're really having a chance to talk to the people that are running things.
Yeah, thank you. That's so great, and that's definitely an impetus behind this session tonight. And when we close, I will open it up to just kind of general questions about serving on the board. What's that like, or how do you know when you're ready to think about doing that, or those kinds of things. But I'll also be taking suggestions for a theme for the next Zoom chat. I want to do them on kind of a quarterly basis, just kind of a community conversation. So. The job fair was this theme. Next one, it might be more event focused, might be something else. Maybe in the fall, we'll do something around fitness or wellness or getting ready for the event after being away for a couple of years. So, would love to hear your ideas. And I hope, we want to use technology since we can't be together to make those connections. And then when we are together, I just really encourage. I think it's so great, Karen, what you do, and I really want to push the other leaders to just make that a habit. Just make a friend every time you sit down to a meal. Jerry's had her hand up for a long time. Jerry, did you want to share?
I did. So I haven't been involved with the Ski for Light the main group as being on the board, but I have been involved with the Michigan Regional for many years. I started going with them in 1993 and have been coming to the SFL since 2013, excuse me. And I have been actively involved as vice president and in charge of registration. So I wouldn't mind if I
Cool.
found a way to get involved with the registration in the
Ah.
SFL or also with the guide training program. And I also want to just say that I think sometimes we need to remember to recognize the people that are really involved with the regionals that might not have the time to be involved with the international because they're so heavily involved with the regionals. But it's
Right.
nice to recognize them too.
I agree. Do we have any other? I know we've got a bunch of people that are involved in regionals that are on this call, actually. Does anyone else want to speak to that? And that is something that's definitely on my list as president to create, really foster those relationships and learn. I think Ski for Light International, like we can learn from some of the great stuff that's happening in the regions. We can also be a source of support. We can certainly coordinate better sometimes in terms of calendaring and when we do things, maybe collaborate on some fundraising events or friend raising events or whatever. And just benefit from some of that knowledge that's out there in the regions and encourage more of our people to get around to more of the regionals. Sometimes, smaller events, certainly in a pandemic environment, are maybe a little safer, more comfortable for people. So let's do more of that. And one of the lists, in a second, I'm going to show the list of committees, and there is a position on the board that is an official regional liaison position. Karen Wood has been in that position for a little while. And could probably use some help. So that's another area where we can do that. Anyone else want to speak to that or anything else before I go to the list of committees? These are all such
Julie,
great perspectives. Yeah, Karen?
yeah, I was in that position last year. I did not sign up to do it again this year.
Okay, well, we'll
I,
find a
I,
successor for you.
I reached out to all of the regionals via their contact information on their websites, and I only got a response from a couple, and I was really disappointed about that. So I don't know how much interest there is in the regionals and really getting more involved with the international. My experience with the regionals is that they're really into their organization and they don't seem to be real interested in
Right.
getting more involved with the international.
Right.
I go to the New England Regional every year for the past several years, and when we go around and introduce ourselves, I always invite people there to come to the international.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of times people are so into their group in their regional that they don't really want to expand. So yeah, maybe somebody else in that position can have better luck than I did.
Okay. Nancy, did you want to add to that? You have a hand up.
Okay. I just wanted to say, I really want to give a shout out to the Washington State Regional, Seattle, or I don't know what they're called. Anyway, I am so impressed with how well they really reach out to folks and the way they connect people to international is they send people who have worked on kind of their version. I mean, I'm speaking a little out of turn, but people go to the international who have, given up their time, like the SFL sends people to the Ritterin. And I just think they do an amazing job. And I just want to, I know there's some of you from the Seattle Regional, and I really applaud. Yeah, I really applaud what you do. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. Yeah, and it's interesting, like
Julie,
working
when you gonna
with
come out?
yeah, I will be there actually. That's one of my things as president. So this whole thing about how Ski for Light is better than a real job. Some of you know this already, but I'm actually stepping away from my real job so that I can really focus on Ski for Light for this first year. At least I'm taking kind of a service sabbatical. And so one of the reasons I want to do that is so that I can get around to the regionals and be a support person. And but in the work that I've been doing at Cincinnati Public Radio, a lot of it is working with community partners, and I've learned that you need to, yeah, respect their agenda and not assume that they're going to want to work with you. Like they might not really need you, and so kind of meet groups where they are, and just show up, support, be there, and build that relationship first before you try to collaborate. Lene, did you have a hand up?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm a real life example of what Nancy was talking about, because I had been told about Ski for Light International for several years, and I was like, well, that's a huge commitment, right? You have to take off a week of work, and it's expensive, and blah blah blah, right? For at that time I was under 40, and so it was a big commitment. So they actually, I received their scholarship or whatever you want to call it, and they sent me that first year, and that's what got me hooked in.
Awesome.
And so it's
I think one year we tried to initiate like a challenge to have because we were needing more guides, and guide recruitment is one area where there is always a need. So we can talk more about that, but issued kind of a challenge to the regionals, send us guides, and I don't forget kind of how it worked. We were going to like pay for half of it or something like that, like a collaborative underwriting of a new guide coming from out of the regionals. And we had some funders that got behind that idea. And I think it was successful to a degree, but something that we could certainly build on and try. But we would love to see more of that. Leslie?
I was just chiming in. Yeah, we offered a scholarship, but I don't know if we had any takers, to be honest with you, as I recall. And my personal opinion was we had too many strings on it. Like we said, you had to be under 50 or something to give a scholarship. Because the idea was, which I've always thought too, is to use the regionals as a pipeline for both guides and skiers. And I went to a regional years ago, and that regional actually went out of business. The Wisconsin one. They were focused on actually teens, and they just the teens wanted to do other stuff. So,
Right. Okay, good. So definitely a growth area. Okay, let me just switch tracks here since we're getting late. I'm going to do another share screen, and I'll call up my list of committees. Where'd you go? Oh, I'm still on my PowerPoint. I'm going to end that. And okay, so this is a list. Right now I'm showing a list of coordinators and committees. And if you'll forgive me, I'm just going to read through the list. These are, and Ski for Light is unique. It's unlike a lot of nonprofits where we have a board of directors, but we don't have a staff. So like the board is the staff basically, plus lots of other people who aren't on the board, but who also put in a ton of time year round doing things. So this first list that I'm going to run through is kind of the standing official, either coordinator jobs that fall under that the board kind of organizes and empowers people to do things. Committees, as I said, some of these committees, most of them already have people in place that are chairs of the committees, co-chairs, whatever. But not in all cases. We do definitely have some current openings where I've highlighted things where either we're trying to groom someone to take that task over in the near future, or there is a leader in place, but they're looking to deepen the bench of that committee and have more people. And my goal is to have at least one non-board member on every committee. I think that's really healthy. We don't want board business to just be really kind of closed circle. We want to open that up to lots of other folks. So let me just kind of run through the list. And these highlights are for my own reference, but just it doesn't mean we don't have needs in the other areas. It's just things that people have either directly emailed me about, or I really need someone to help with this, or areas where I perceive kind of a current need. So I'm just going to run down the list. Here we go. Quick like a bunny. Annual report editor. I've been doing that a long time. Would love to delegate that to someone else. Board development and elections committee. That's another highlighted area. Budget and finance, constitution and bylaws, corporate sponsors, database coordinator. And new for 22, we are adopting a Salesforce platform that will really streamline a lot of our database and customer service type of functions using technology. And so that's an area where we're going to want to train people who want to learn that kind of stuff. Raise a hand and we will come for you because we're going to need some help there. Donor response, financial appeal coordinator, foundations committee, guide recruitment committee. That's an area where we definitely could use some more muscle. Listserv manager, long range planning committee. Let me pause there. Krista, are you still on the call? How are you doing with long range planning? Do you need some more recruits?
Happy if anybody wants to be on long range planning, you're more than welcome. I'm slowly working my way through the list of people who expressed interest on the survey. So if you checked yes on long range planning and you haven't gotten a phone call from me, you should be sometime in the next couple of weeks. But I think that's it.
Good. Okay, I'll go on. Major donors, mobility impaired participant recruitment, publicity and public relations. That's an area where we definitely need some new folks to step up. Regional liaison, we've talked about, Ritter and Trip coordinator, risk management coordinator, site selection, Ski for Light bulletin editor, Ski for Light planning committee. I'm going to talk more in detail about that. That's a big old committee with a lot of roles in itself. Ski for Light policy manual manager or working group. We're looking to update some of those policies and manuals that we are guiding documents. So that's a non-glamorous but important task we could use some help with. Social media committee, as we mentioned before, we're definitely needing some help there. Visually impaired recruitment committee and webmaster are areas where we could certainly use some more talent. We're establishing some new committees for 22. These are ad hoc committees at this point, but we're working on a 50th anniversary celebration committee. Judy and Marion are going to be leading that, and I know they're looking for folks who know the history, love it, want to tell that story, and bring people to our 25 event ready for just a fantastic celebration of 5 decades of Ski for Light. Judy, do you want to say anything more about that at this point, or what's the best way for people to get engaged with that effort?
Yeah, probably just contact me or Marion.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it would also be good to have a newer person who can have some perspective, like, oh God, don't do that, please. New people would hate it, you know.
That's so smart, right? Yeah, and that's an example too. Sometimes the committee, it might just be like co-chairs and 2 or 3 other people. If committees get too big, it can be hard to kind of coordinate meetings and do the business of the planning. But that's a committee where we want, the core committee might be of a modest size, but they're going to be reaching out, I think, to a lot of different people. We want it to be a lot of folks have buy-in to that event. So there are ways to contribute to things like that without necessarily being part of that core group. If you don't like to do a lot of meetings, you can still contribute. Virtual programming that I mentioned, we're establishing a new ad hoc ethics, equity, and inclusion committee to just create some space for conversations around advocacy and some of the social issues that have come up in our larger society. And we just want to make sure that Ski for Light is sensitive to some of those issues. We're listening. We're making sure that everyone feels safe and welcome when they come to our event. So if that's an area you're interested in, reach out to me, and we're going to be convening that committee soon. And also a board rotation committee. We want to look at best practices at other nonprofits, other organizations, the best way to make use of and honor longtime leaders while also making sure that we're having an influx of new talent and new energy in a kind of an ebb and flow that's healthy for the organization. So that's another area we're looking for some help. So those are the board committees and coordinator positions. I mentioned that the planning committee is its own beast. And so just to run down all the jobs that go into the planning committee, and this is not a comprehensive list, but these are kind of the official positions. Event chair and vice chair, of course, announcer, awards coordinator, banquet MC, banquet seating coordinator, corporate sponsors, evening programs coordinator, finances, first aid coordinator, foreign delegations, guide skier matching, guide training, hotel functions, hotel staff orientation and training, information room, instructor guide applications, local volunteer recruitment and orientation coordinator. Local volunteers is an area where I think we always need help. So we really want to make sure that every time we go into a community, we are making friends all over the place and bringing them into our community. So that's always an area where we can use more help. Meals coordinator, mobility impaired participant applications coordinator, other attendee applications coordinator, packing and shipping, program journal, that's the event program, promotion and publicity, race rally, registration and housing, sales room, silent auction, ski equipment, I'm not done, ski site, facilities and ski trails coordinator, special format communications, special interest sessions, technique sessions, transportation coordinator, visually impaired participant applications, and website database coordinator. So, I'm out of breath. That is a huge list. Are there any areas that people are curious about? Your burning questions like, what is that? Or that's something that I would like to try? Or this is an area where we really need help that I haven't already kind of highlighted. So that's the list. So you see, I mean, and each one of those headers represents sometimes a team of people, like guide training, for instance. That's a team of 20 some people who really put in a lot of time in the beginning of the event to make sure that guides are prepared. So it's a huge endeavor, and we are so fortunate that we have such a large and capable and committed workforce. But there's always room for more. And I really hope that tonight maybe triggered some ideas for you, maybe lit a little spark of inspiration in a way that you can bring your talents, whether it's quilting or playing the flute or designing a ski headband or making a list and checking it twice. We can put all that to work here at Ski for Light. So let me just set aside a minute here for to see if we have any other questions. Things doesn't have to be related to volunteering or anything, like just general. Like, hey, I'm Ski for Light president. What do you want to know? Ask me anything. Or if you have questions for each other.
Hey, Julie.
Yeah. Hey, Kenny.
Hey, I was just going to kind of introduce myself.
Please do.
This is my first time to be on Zoom, and in fact, I just found out about you all I guess the end of last year.
Mhm.
So due to the pandemic, we wasn't able to have the Ski for Light this year, so
Right.
I wasn't able to meet nobody.
So
But
tell us who you are and where you're calling from.
well, I am Kenny Blair, and I am blind. I've got retinitis pigmentosus, and I am from Claremore, Oklahoma, northeastern Oklahoma, and I've been in the past few years, I have worked pretty hands on with the National Federation of the Blind and getting donations and fundraising and stuff done with that. And I am their I am their auctioneer. So we do live auction and silent auction at our NFB meetings, and I'm the auctioneer for that.
Okay.
So
I was gonna say you've got a good radio voice.
well, thank you. But I've went to blind school at Ruston, Louisiana,
Mhm.
and for independent living, I'm single. I live alone,
Mhm.
and so I just I love to be a part of, especially the blind community, in helping support the blind events.
Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you for introducing yourself. Welcome. We
Well,
cannot wait
thank
to meet
you.
you in person. Hopefully, be joining us in Granby next January, and
I
I
hope
will be
so.
reaching out to you, Mr. Oklahoma
Yes.
Auctioneer. I think we can definitely put you to work. So that's
Okay.
great. I actually guided an Oklahoman skier some years ago. She was a badass. We had the best time. So
That's awesome.
yeah, that's great. So welcome.
Well,
Okay.
thank you.
Any other? Yeah. Thanks, Kenny. Any other questions from the peanut gallery? Good. Okay. Well, you all know where to find me. You can email me. It's I have my Gmail address is jycoppens, JYCOPPENS @gmail.com. You can also email president@sfl.org. That should get to me. Fingers crossed. I'm not sure it always does. Sometimes I don't trust it. It's a forwarding deal. But that's another way to reach me as well. Yeah, my virtual door is always open. I love to talk to folks and hear what's on their minds. And I just invite all of you to, stay engaged. Thank you for being here tonight, for volunteering. Like I said, I'm going to leave the Zoom open a little longer. If you guys just want to chat, we could do a little social time, share kind of how you're doing. You can also say goodnight, and we'll talk to you next time. But we're going to try to do another one of these in a couple months. So keep an eye on your email and Facebook, and we'll announce the theme and the date closer to the time. You all are great. Thank you. Thanks to everyone who shared stories and questions and wisdom. It was really good.